Brother Ram, throughout the ages, people have compared our teachings. Some say that you taught duty above all else, while I taught detachment and inner wisdom. They ask which path is greater. What would you say to them? I would say that Dharma itself is greater than any individual path. A person must fulfill his responsibilities even when they demand sacrifice. The world stands upon righteousness. Without it, society loses its balance. Yet many fulfill their duties while remaining consumed by fear, pride, and attachment. Is mere obedience enough? No. Duty without purity of intention becomes empty. One must act with sincerity and truth. Dharma is not only external conduct, but also the state of the heart. Then we already agree more than people imagine. For I taught Arjuna that action alone is not enough. One must act without attachment to the fruits of action. And I taught humanity that one must never abandon responsibility simply because it is difficult. The path of righteousness often demands sacrifice. But brother, why should one sacrifice? Because selfishness destroys both individuals and societies. A father sacrifices for his children. A king sacrifices for his kingdom. A teacher sacrifices for his students. Love itself is sacrifice. True sacrifice is born from love. False sacrifice is born from pride. True sacrifice brings peace. False sacrifice leaves bitterness. Yet some people suffer unnecessarily and call it virtue. How does one distinguish true sacrifice from false sacrifice? True sacrifice is born from love. False sacrifice is born from pride. True sacrifice brings peace. False sacrifice leaves bitterness. Beautifully spoken. During my earthly life, I often saw people confuse attachment with love. They clung to possessions, relationships, and ambitions, believing them to be permanent. Attachment brings sorrow because all things in this world are temporary. Exactly. I told Arjuna that the wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. The soul is eternal. Death changes forms, but it does not destroy existence. Yet knowing the soul is eternal does not free one from duty. Certainly not. Knowledge should strengthen action, not weaken it. A warrior must still protect the innocent. A king must still serve his people. A son must still honor his parents. And a person should perform all these actions without becoming enslaved by success or failure. Brother, many people admire your teachings on detachment, but they misunderstand them. They think detachment means abandoning responsibilities. Yes, they believe spirituality means escaping the world, but I never taught escape. I taught freedom. There is a difference. Indeed, a lotus lives in water, yet remains untouched by it. Likewise, a person should live in the world without becoming consumed by it. I lived as an example for humanity. I wish to show that righteousness must be practiced, not merely discussed. And I wished to show humanity the wisdom hidden behind righteous action. Some ask why our lives appeared so different. The answer lies partly in the ages in which we lived. During Treta Yuga, virtue still possessed strength. People respected truth, and straightforward conduct was sufficient. But by Dwapara Yuga, darkness had grown stronger. Deception itself had become powerful. Evil no longer stood openly. It disguised itself as righteousness. Therefore your methods were different. Yes, Dharma is eternal, but its application changes with circumstances. Yet some criticize you for using strategy. And some criticize you for accepting suffering too readily. Perhaps both criticisms arise because people see only actions and not intentions. Exactly. The same medicine can heal or harm depending on how it is used. Tell me, brother, is truth always simple? No. Truth is eternal, but understanding it requires wisdom. In my life, I sought to embody the highest standards of conduct. And in mine I sought to teach the deeper principles behind conduct. I became known as Maryada Purushottam, and one became known as Leela Purushottam. Some believe these titles separate us, but in reality, they complement each other. Discipline without wisdom becomes rigidity. Wisdom without discipline becomes chaos. Truth without compassion becomes harshness. Compassion without truth becomes weakness. Law without understanding becomes oppression. Understanding without principles becomes confusion. Brother, why do human beings fear suffering so much? Because they identify themselves with what is temporary. They seek comfort above character. They seek rewards without effort. They desire victory without sacrifice, and happiness without self-mastery. Yet suffering itself can become a teacher. Indeed, many souls come closer to God in adversity than in prosperity. During my exile, I learned the strength hidden within patience. And upon the battlefield of Kurukshetra, I taught that crises often become the doorway to transformation. Fear causes people to abandon Dharma. Attachment causes them to forget wisdom. Anger blinds judgment. Desire clouds understanding. Pride destroys humility. And ego separates man from the divine. Then what is the greatest enemy? Ignorance. And what is the greatest strength? Self-knowledge. What is the greatest wealth? Contentment. What is the greatest victory? Victory over oneself. What is the purpose of life? To realize one's true nature and unite with the Supreme. And how does one begin this journey? Through sincerity. Through discipline. Through devotion. Through truth. Through selfless action. Through compassion. Through wisdom. Through faith. Brother, humanity often asks which of us they should follow. They need not choose between us. For our teachings are not rivals. They are different expressions of the same eternal Dharma. You teach humanity how to live. And you teach humanity why to live. You show the beauty of righteous conduct. And you reveal the wisdom behind existence. You inspire people through example. And you guide them through understanding. Ultimately, all paths lead to the same supreme truth. Whether one walks through discipline or wisdom, through devotion or knowledge, through duty or detachment, through service or meditation, the destination remains the same. For the divine is one, and Dharma is eternal. Therefore, let humanity stop asking, who is greater? And instead ask, how may I become greater in righteousness? For greatness does not lie in comparison. It lies in transformation. It lies in realizing God and in serving His creation. Then, brother, we are in agreement, as we always have been. For we are two melodies sung by the same eternal truth, and all sincere seekers shall one day hear that harmony. Brother Ram, there is something that has always fascinated humanity. And what is that, brother? Love. Everyone seeks it, yet few truly understand it. Love is the foundation of Dharma. Without love, duty becomes a burden, and without wisdom, love becomes attachment. Tell me, brother, how do you distinguish love from attachment? Attachment says, you belong to me. Love says, may you flourish, even without me. Beautifully said. True love seeks the welfare of the beloved, not possession. Yet mankind often mistakes desire for love, because desire asks, what can I receive? While love asks, what can I give? During my life, I tried to show that love and sacrifice walk together. And I tried to show that love reaches its highest form when it becomes devotion. Brother, why does separation bring so much suffering? Because human beings cling to forms and forget the eternal essence. And they believe what is temporary is permanent. Exactly. They fear losing what was never truly theirs. Yet grief itself is natural. Yes, even wisdom does not eliminate compassion. A person who never grieves has not truly loved. but one who remains forever, imprisoned by grief, has forgotten the eternal nature of the soul. Then balance is necessary, as in all things. Tell me, brother, why do human beings chase happiness so desperately? Because they seek outside what exists within. They search in wealth, in power, in praise, in pleasures. Yet none of these remain forever. Therefore, none of these can provide lasting peace. Then where does true happiness come from? From harmony between the soul and the divine. From living according to Dharma. From freedom from attachment. From selfless service. From devotion. Rather, many believe that power brings greatness. Yet power without wisdom destroys. And wisdom without humility corrupts. Why do kings fall, brother? Because they begin serving themselves instead of their people. Why do scholars fall? Because knowledge becomes pride. Why do warriors fall? Because courage becomes arrogance. Why do spiritual seekers fall? Because they begin worshiping themselves instead of God. Ego, the oldest enemy. More dangerous than any weapon. More subtle than any poison. Even the wise must remain vigilant, for pride enters quietly. Tell me, brother, what makes a person truly great? Character, not wealth. Wealth can disappear. Not fame. Fame changes with time. Not strength. Strength fades with age. Then what remains? Virtue, indeed. A person is remembered not for what he possessed, but for what he became. Humanity often seeks victory over others, but the greatest victory is over oneself. To conquer anger, to conquer greed, to conquer fear, to conquer pride. Such a person is a true warrior. Brother, why do people fear failure so much? Because they identify themselves with outcomes. They believe success defines their worth. Yet success and failure are merely passing seasons. A tree does not despair during winter, for it knows spring will return. Likewise, the wise remain steady in victory and defeat, in praise and criticism, in gain and loss, in joy and sorrow. Equanimity is strength, and patience is wisdom. Brother, many pray for easier lives, yet difficulties shape character. Iron becomes steel through fire, gold becomes pure through heat, and souls become noble through trials. Suffering itself is not the enemy. Meaningless suffering is. Therefore, every challenge should become an opportunity for growth. Brother, what do you think is the greatest illusion? The belief that man is separate from the divine. I agree. For all beings arise from the same source. Therefore, hatred ultimately harms oneself. Compassion is not weakness. It is strength. Forgiveness is not surrender. It is mastery over anger. Humility is not inferiority. It is freedom from ego. Brother, tell me, what is devotion? To remember God in all circumstances. In joy? Yes. In sorrow? Especially in sorrow. In success? Without pride. In failure? Without despair. Then devotion is constant remembrance and constant surrender. Many people think surrender means weakness, yet surrender to God is the greatest strength, because one who depends upon the eternal need not fear the temporary. Exactly. Brother, what is the purpose of knowledge? To remove ignorance. And what is the purpose of wisdom? To transform knowledge into life. And what is the purpose of life? To realize the divine. Through love. Through action. Through truth. Through devotion. Through compassion. Through selflessness. Through faith. Through understanding. Then all paths converge. Like rivers entering the ocean, though their courses differ, their destination remains one. Brother, perhaps this is what humanity forgets. That diversity of paths does not mean division of truth. Exactly. For truth is infinite, and the divine is beyond comparison. Therefore, let mankind stop arguing over names and start living the principles they admire. Let them cultivate compassion. Let them pursue righteousness. Let them seek wisdom. Let them practice humility. Let them remember God, for that is the highest purpose and the greatest blessing. Then, brother, humanity still has hope. It always will, because darkness may rise, but so long as even one heart seeks truth, Dharma shall endure, and the light shall never truly fade.